Hello everybody, welcome along to the channel and welcome to the relative darkness. Today we're in Automobilista 2. We are a little bit darker on camera because moments before we went live this evening my bulb in my lamp blew. So we're going to be a little bit darker on this side of things, but we are still here, I promise. Welcome along to the channel. We're in Automobilista 2 as mentioned, and we are checking out the brand new release of the Brabham BT46. This is going to be an interesting experience, that's for sure. This new car is very much revolutionary and very unique in its makeup and its genetics, so be interesting to see how that is transported over into the world of Automobilista 2 and how this car is going to react on track. So what we're going to do, F1's at Imola this weekend, and so are we. We're going to take this to Imola and we're going to put it up against its rival, the Lotus 79, to see which one's quicker. So let's jump into the sim itself. Here we go, and we're in the showroom looking at some rather nice wheels by the looks of things here. So, there we go, the Brabham BT46. Now this thing is actually quite a nice looking car. It's obviously we've got the main talking point being the fan at the back of the car, which we'll get onto in a little bit, but this is a design by the legendary Gordon Murray, who is well known in F1 circles for his design abilities. So yeah, he's made some very good and very successful cars in the past. This one was brought out very much in the late 70s Formula 1 history, and yeah, it was rather revolutionary when it came out, as mentioned. Obviously we've got the fan on the back, which is great for helping to improve airflow around the car and things, but what it was particularly effective at was providing so much suction underneath the car that it actually pulled the car down at high speed and created an enormous amount of downforce, and it just absolutely blew everything away out of the water in F1 at the time. This was in the region of the time where F1 was looking at ground effects to generate downforce, which is what we're hopefully going to be getting back into next year in modern Formula 1. There's going to be a lot more emphasis on ground effect aerodynamics. So yeah, this car, when it first appeared, it raced one race, and Niki Lauda completely dominated, and it was quickly banned, and it was never ever to be seen again in Formula 1. But it's just, again, just an era of pushing the boundaries and seeing what's possible and what can possibly be quick. So it sits within the Formula Retro Gen 2 class. So we've got our new Brabham here, and obviously the Lotus 79, which we're going to be testing later, and of course there's the Retro Gen 2 as well, which we might do a little test against just to see which one's quicker out of here. Whereas with these two we have the venerable DFV Cosworth engine in the back of them, the V8. The Brabham is V12 powered. It's got an Alfa Romeo V12 in the back of it, and I'm very much looking forward to giving this a try. We've got 6-speed H pattern box, so yeah, this is going to be a little bit of old school F1 and a bit of fun. And we're going to be running the 1988 version of the track. Remember, there's the 70s version as well, which is even more free-flowing. It's a little bit earlier than the car, and this is just that little bit later as well, but we're going to run the 88 version just because, you know, we'll try it out. I've not really driven this track very much, so it's a good opportunity to try a new car and a new track at the same time. So let's load in and see what this Brabham is like. But anyway, welcome along, hope you're all doing well. Good to have you with us. Welcome to our teammates, those who have hit the red subscribe button below. If you haven't already done so, please do consider doing so, because you'll become one of our teammates here at Sim Racing Bible, and we'll try and provide some fun and light-hearted entertainment for you along the way, and hopefully you'll enjoy spending some time with us this evening and in the future as well. So here we go, we've loaded in at Imola Historic. Now, slightly different in terms of layout to what we have nowadays. We've had qualifying today for the modern day Formula 1 cars around Imola. There are some subtle changes on the circuit here which we will go through as we take a drive. So let's load in. Sounds like the starter motor is a bit ropey, but here we go. So we got our V12 behind us. Let's just pull out a pit lane here. Let's get into the sunshine so we can have a better look at the interior of this car, such as it is. So little mirrors on stalks on the sides there. Not that we're going to see much out of those in this one. Okay, so with the fan on the back, the downforce really kicks in at high speed. So at the low speed corners I'm expecting it to handle very similar to a a late 70s, early 80s Formula 1 car with not so much grip. But when we get up to the high speed stuff, that's where it's really going to kick in. So, first things first, what does it sound like? Oh, amazing. Oh, that sounds so good. We're going to take it a little bit easy just to kind of feel our way in. For this first lap, we're going to find our way around the circuit as well. So already we've got not many chicanes to deal with as we have in the modern day Imola. As with some of the other older circuits on AMS2, we have taller curves to deal with as well, so we're going to have to try and keep off that. The sun glare is burning my retinas as we head up the hill into what is effectively turn 4, I suppose. This has not changed that much. Then we drop downhill, and then this is where one of the big issues is. We would normally be really quick around this right-hander, but here we have this really tight and nasty little chicane to negotiate before we get into the outward section of Aqua Minerale, and then we're back up the hill again, up towards the next tight chicane, which is this one right here. This one doesn't change much again, but just nasty curbs, not really wanting to hit those as you would do in a modern F1 car. We're back down the hill. The differences aren't done yet. Oh, that sounds so good. Ooh, stay on track. That's a good idea. And so these are all fairly similar through here, but then rather than just getting a flat-out blast over the line, we have a couple more chicanes to negotiate here. So it has a similar number of chicanes to the modern ones, just in different places. And another tight one just to finish the lap off here. Now, tyres are stone cold on the indicators on the right, so we've got to be a bit wary of that, just in case we don't quite have the grip we expect. Already up to a healthy speed, even though we're not pushing on overly so to start off with. We're just feeling our way in. Next to the hairpin turn. This is not much grip in the low speed stuff. That's one thing I can notice straight away, but we'll hopefully see that improve when the tyres come a little bit more up to temperature. Got to remember not to take this bit so quickly. Get it through there. It's feisty. Mr. Madlow, welcome along. Good to have you on the stream. Up at 5 AM on a Sunday in Australia, testing out the BT46. What a time to be like. That's dedication to be up that early. Well done. Let us know your thoughts. What do you think of it? It certainly is a very unique car, and not one that appears in many different sims out there. Struggling to get this thing turned in at the moment. Let's hopefully try and build some temperature up here. But yeah, it's not a very common car to find in sim racing. But so far, despite the lack of grip in the low speed stuff, it's feeling pretty good. So quick through this first corner here at Imola. It's not really a corner because it's just taken flat out. Get on the brakes just a little early here just to make sure we make it into the hairpin. Ooh. Come on. Need some of that downforce kicking in. This is where we'd typically feel it a bit more, is through the faster stuff. Stephen, hi! Welcome to the stream. The fan is linked to the RPM, so take slow corners in a low gear to keep the revs high. Okay, there we go. We're learning stuff already. Thanks for that insight, Stephen. Appreciate that. should have done more homework on it. And I should have braked earlier for that corner. It's not helping my tyre grip whatsoever. Okay. The thing is, I'm so used to the modern Imola that you just forget sometimes that the track layout is different. So at this point in time, the Brabham team was owned by the one and only Bernie Eccleston, who we all know as being a long-time rights owner of Formula One. And obviously Niki Lauda himself being one of the drivers is no slouch behind the wheel. So there was no surprise really that it was successful. Don't make it crash. Yeah, it's just, I'm not going to blame you, don't worry, I can't possibly blame you for that, that's all me. Not paying attention. So we're increasing in our tyre temperatures, partly through my sliding around and also a little bit of locking going on. Whoop. It's starting to become a little bit more drivable now. Just chucked it through there then. Wow. Okay. Try and pick up the pace a little bit more now and just see what we can really do with this thing, as well as getting on the brakes in time for the corner. Just. So if you're just tuning in and wondering why it's so dark on my camera, my bulb has blown, so I'm sitting in the dark effectively. Well, not completely, but for the camera it is. Okay, so up and over the line we go then on a semi-quick lap. Make sure you shift gears, that's also a good tip for going quickly. So what was that in terms of lap time? It was at 140.9. Let's see if we can lower that down a little bit. See it, mate. Come on, Phil, get your gears right. That just sounds so amazing. Come on, stick. So I do wonder what this is going to be like in comparison with the Lotus 79, because that was one of the most successful cars of the period. Oh, there's that curb you don't want to be hitting. Yeah, I don't mind you invalidating my lap time for that. That was not great, but even so, it's probably not going to... Hello. Big old stutter's going on there. What's going on here? Stop it. Why are we stuttering for? Okay. Back up and running again. Well, that was odd. It hasn't done that for a while. Or for a long, long time. I haven't had big stutters like that. But we're all up and running again now, so that's good. So much for going quicker this lap then, huh? Alright, let's try afresh this time round. Yeah, when it goes wrong, it all goes wrong technically. So hopefully I'm not going to get any more problems with stuttering. To the final chicane. Okay, let's go. Let's see what we can do this time. Let's get the brakes done just on the join of the road there, just enough time to get the car slowed down. Certainly a handful in the low speed stuff. try not launch off the curb this time. Certainly a lot harder than the modern version. And the modern version is not particularly easy either. But that's really a tricky little section. I don't know whether they've changed that sun glare, but it certainly looks a lot neater and nicer now. Turn. To bring my braking point back for that one, definitely. Okay, we're slowly starting to get the hang of it a little bit. Certainly keeps you on your toes, that's for sure. Have we gone any quicker? Yeah, we have 40.1. Well, so far, feelings are it's very nice to drive once you get the tyres up to temperature. That's the big thing, because until that happens, you have very little grip. And even when you do get the tyres up to temperature, you have very little rear grip because the back end just constantly wants to come round on you. With all that horsepower from the V12. It's really starting to come into its own now. It's starting to grip up much nicer. It's just moving around just ever so slightly, so you just kind of get a good idea of what's going on underneath you, but it's easy to kind of tell what's going on through the wheel, through the feedback. But it's just dancing over the surface of the road. It's better, actually got it turned in on the apex this time. Wrestling this thing around. It's tricky. So, update notes from Stephen. Okay, so Imola 98 and a performance pass. Yeah, I did see that a few circuits having performance passes. So low draw call, sorry, draw calls by 28%. Minor LOD popping. Yeah, interesting. It had that little moment at the chicane. So. It's been stable since then, so I'm not sure what that was. But yeah, there's been a few updates in terms of performance passes for certain circuits. Try and get up the hill as quick as we can here. 3/10 down, but we did go 6/10 quicker on that last lap, which is good. I was just saying earlier on today how it seems like we haven't had anything new released in the world of sim racing for quite some time, and then Rise just go and prove me wrong by dropping this little update. But that's okay. It gives us something to test out and try on stream. So far I'm loving it, it's really good. Especially now I'm kind of getting my eye in with the circuit as well. But the slip angles on the tyres seem much better. We discussed this already with the videos that we did recently around Bathurst, where the older F1 machinery was actually much more easily controlled. It went sideways, and this is the case with this car as well. When you do get a little bit of oversteer, you can kind of control it an awful lot better. I mean, look at that through there. It's just a little bit of a slide, but it's not the end of the road in terms of chucking you off into the scenery because you just can't catch the thing. fuel cooking on gas. It's working better now. We'll get off that grass. What a thing. It's so cool. Now the interesting thing would be to test out just how much quicker it's going to be than the 79, which we shall do very shortly. It's absolutely launched it through there then. Come on, not going to be any quicker. It certainly is, a 38.7, so we've dropped quite a lot of lap time off there. 1.15 quicker than that last lap, so as soon as those tyres kick in, you really do start to get an awful lot more grip, and obviously the lap times just tumble from there. That's really cool. Let's have a look from the outside. It's a quick look at our replay here. Fan busy spinning around like crazy on the back. That's how low it's sitting on the road as well, it's just like sucked to the floor. I mean, the actual profile of the car, I mean, it's a bit interesting, you know, it's not swooping, and you kind of have that cockpit area where the driver sits and just kind of stops abruptly after it. And with that fan on the back, it just looks like it's powered by a jet engine. Down to the Aqua Minerale chicane. A bit confused with the cameras there, but we're back on the car now. There's that clip of the grass. It is a cool looking thing. I do like the look of it. You know, massive slicks on the rear as well. Even with all that tyre contact patch, you still end up getting sideways. It's because the compound's just not quite as grippy as modern day slick tyres are. Yeah, what a masterpiece of design that thing was. There were other fan cars, of course, as well, not just this one. It's just launched over the curb. But not in F1, because obviously they were outlawed as soon as this thing came into coexistence. So there were things such as the Chaparral cars, which were experimenting with fans and obviously ground effects as well, so they were very successful in sports car racing. So let's have a quick look. Let's go back to the pits here. Let's see what kind of things you can change in the setup. So as usual, you have your tyre compound and pressures. Brake pressures, we're on 90% brakes there, so dare I put that up a little bit maybe and just see if I can get the thing stopped. It'll probably just lock everywhere, it might be worth a try. Brake bias, of course, duct openings, managing your brake temperatures, which is something important to be doing. Fuel, what else have we got? Yeah, so heaps of adjustment on the suspension, bumps, rebounds, ride heights, spring rates, as you'd expect for a Formula 1 car, because you can obviously adjust them quite a lot. Anti-roll bars. There's a front centre slow bump adjustment as well as the corner bumps. It's interesting. And again, for the rear, there's terrain and anti-roll bar. Drivetrain then. Anything we can change on here that's of interest? Fuel mapping. Okay. Didn't know this would have a adjustable fuel map. It's got 3 settings on there. Presumably one is full juice, and then 0.9 means you're using less fuel, but you also have less power to deal with. So interesting. And obviously clutch and diff preloads, etc., to play with over this side as well. So plenty to do, plenty to mess around with to try and extract a little bit more performance out of it. It might be nice to get some more front end on it so we can get the car turned in. We might have to play with the tyre pressures a little bit just to try and bring them up to temperature a little bit quicker, because it took a while for those tyres to really kick in. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take the other 2 retro Formula 1 cars for a lap around the same circuit. We're going to do it in time trial mode, just so we can make sure that it's all fair in terms of track conditions, etc. So we're going to start with the Formula Retro Gen 2, the non-Lotus one. So we're going to try this one. This is their generic car. I'm not going to go to Bathurst, that would just be insane, because we've driven there enough. That's where we are now. Imola, right. Imola 88. A few people already set laps on there. So what we're going to do, we're going to set lap times with this one. We're going to set it with the Lotus 79, and then we're going to see just how much quicker or not the Brabham can go. But yeah, very interesting to see what the differences will be between the cars. We'll certainly tell straight away what the difference was in terms of grip with that fan compared to no fan. Okay, here we go. We have tyres up to temperature. We have ideal track conditions. And we're off. Stephen, sorry, yes, I did see your comment, but I've not replied to it. Yeah, I love how Ryzen demands different driving techniques for different cars. Yes, absolutely. You can't just jump into one car and expect it to be easy to drive, as I found with the Fusca around Bathurst, which had a bit of a thing for me, trying to ruin my life. Azaris, welcome along. This car is the sleeper hit of the last few updates. Oh, okay. Not necessarily the one people will jump into straight away, but potentially quick. Of course, we've only got 5 gears to deal with on this particular one. It's still pretty feisty. There's some interesting disco lights going on in the cockpit here. I've got some nice turquoisey. Ooh, that's not the best through there. It's some interesting different glows going on the dashboard when we catch certain lighting. So pretty much disregard this lap because of that moment at chicane, so we'll go for another one. But it does feel a lot more, I guess, responsive, I suppose, than the Brabham. But that could also be down to track temp and tyre temps as well. So let's see what we can do with a clean lap around Imola, hopefully. Get on the brakes nice and early. Just kind of grabbed a bit of the grass on the way in there as well, which chucked us sideways. Come on. Of course, the unmistakable sound of a Cosworth DFE. Whoa, hello. Broadside going into there. So we're down on our first lap, but this is where we're going to make up some time, hopefully, if we can get through here neatly. Or not. It's definitely better than last time around, so we will continue on and see what kind of lap time we will post up here. Ooh. So eager on the turn in there. So on edge through there, you're just sliding it through, hoping that it will stick. So up and over the line, what are we going to be doing? It's a 140.9, which is kind of the times we were doing at the start with the Brabham. Give it one more go, just to see if I can extract a bit more out of it. Little generic Formula 1 car. We're still down on our first sector splits. It's a dirt rally, you know. Okay, we're not going any quicker on this lap. Okay, so 140.9. Let's try the Lotus and see what happens. That was still fun to drive though, I did enjoy doing that. Yeah, okay. I'm curious now just to see just how different the Brabham's going to be on hot tyres, and so you go, quickest Formula Gen 2 retro on there. But is the Lotus going to be quicker? Let's see. This is our floating bodied Lotus, so the body of the car being sprung slightly, so when the pressure from the higher speed hits the body, it pushes it down and then lowers the overall body and increases the airflow underneath the car, which creates ground effect downforce. So again, plenty of downforce through the quick stuff, not so much through the slow stuff. Already this feels incredibly different to drive compared to the other one. So let's see what this can do. Flat out through the first section. This one's also got the disco lights on. It must be the circuit, I think. Okay, brake now. Shift to second, not fourth. Usually helps when you're trying to go down through the gears. Disco. Oh yeah, so much more grip through the left hander there. It's so hard to carry speed through there when you can't attack those curves properly. Probably a little bit too much brakes going into there then. How on earth did I get away with that? Well, it's already a quicker lap even with that mental finish. Let's see if we can keep that tidy this time around. So we're on a 38. No, we're not. On a 39.6. See what Colin Chapman's finest can do from this era. We're up on our first sector, which is good. Sideways, but a little bit cleaner. Okay, let's try and keep this last section neat. Well, better. Not amazing, but we're better. So there we go, 38.720. So considerably quicker than the Gen 2 model. Now, what can we do with the Brabham? That's the question. So we were in the 38s previously. But I'm thinking that we're probably going to be able to get this down to a 37, just because of the conditions being correct. So let's see what happens. 520 brake horsepower, 430 newton meters of torque. So pretty torquey, hence why the rear end's trying to come around on you all the time. Let's give this a go. V12 power. Okay, and we're off. Flat out to the first section here. Of course, this one has 6 gears rather than the other 2 being 5. Hopefully we can get a slightly neater start to the lap next time round, but it's not feeling quite as edgy, but it's also still lacking a bit of front end compared to the Lotus. The aggressive line through there. so scruffy. So 39.6. Come on then, let's neaten this up. So whether Riser have actually done some BOP adjustments on them to make sure that this car doesn't just run away with the field, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have, just because it would kind of defeat the object of having the other 2 cars in game if this thing was just so quick. It would just be a Brabham one-make championship. Already 1.4 seconds up on our lap time. Again, running too deep into there. Green on the last 2 sections, 38.8, so we're about a tenth slower than what we did in the Lotus. There's still time on the table for that, definitely, so let's restart the session. Let's go to the garage and just see if we can do something about these this front end, because it's super understeery. I'm going to put tyre pressures up a little bit here as well, just to see what happens with that. I'm going to actually try put this brake pressure up. Let's put it on 100% and just see what happens. Downforce, front downforce. Can they go up? Only a little bit. Well, we'll try that for now and see what happens. I know this is technically cheating because we didn't change the setup on the other two, but seeing as this video is all about the Brabham, let's see what it's capable of. What we'll do after this as well is we'll do a race with these Formula Retro cars, and we'll see how they all get on together. Yeah, there is the massive amount of fuel. Anywhere but where I wanted to go out of that hairpin. Yeah, let's take that fuel out, shall we? Let's do that. Write that right down. And 5 laps, because that's probably going to be enough. Let's try again. This should be even more lively now, hopefully, as if it needs to be. Certainly hooked up through there, okay. I haven't been checking the top speeds as well. I don't know whether this is slightly quicker on top speed. Brake pressure doesn't seem too bad. It's not locking up like I expected to. Too enthusiastic through the chicane. But what this really does do, what I love about these Formula Retro cars is that you can't just jump in them and drive them and expect to just turn laps with ease and having a car that just sticks to the ground. I mean, yes, it's an F1 car, but it's not glued to the ground completely. There's going to be movement in these cars, so you really do have to put the effort in to be rewarded driving one of these cars. And that's, it's good news for us sim racers, because if it was all a simple case of point and squirt, it could get quite boring quite quickly. But if there's a little bit of driving involved, I'm all for it. Okay, let's try again. To get quicker than our other laps. Towards the top of the hill we go again. Back end just snapped around, but able to hold it there. So far, slightly neater lap. But it stopped that time as well, which is nice. No! That is not how you go quickly around Imola, not at all. Okay, we're going to run with this one more go. We're going to try and get that lap time done. So we can see the Brabham on the top of the timesheets, and then we're going to jump into a race. So let's get this boxed off. I was so close to the end there, and hopefully that would have been an improvement. But we go again, which means we get to experience the joy of the V12 some more, which I don't mind. So far then, thoughts on the Brabham BT46. In terms of looks, I really like the way it looks. I think it's a really cool looking car. It's nicely modelled in here as well. The sounds, I like the sound of it very much. The V12 sounds really, really good. There's no obvious kind of sound looping going on. It all makes sense as to what you're hearing. It's all nicely matched up with what's going on in the sim as well. Force feedback, as you'd expect, it's very, very good. Very good communication through the wheel. You can kind of get a good idea of what's going on underneath you, so when the car is stepping out sideways you really do feel it, and you can get a good opportunity to wrestle with it and bring it back under control, like there for example. This time we made it through. Drive for the line. We posted 38 dead. So he went quicker. Obviously the fuel would have helped with that, as would have keeping the car on track. That would definitely have helped too. So the only thing I haven't covered there in terms of the review of the car is the driving feel, which is very good. I mean, obviously it's a very unique car to drive anyway. Keeping those revs up definitely does seem to help going through the slower corners, trying to keep a bit of suction, a bit of downforce onto the track. So there we go, sitting at the top of the pile, but I'm sure that won't last long. There'll be people out there who will smash that time in no time. But we're not going to run him on this old version. We're going to modernise it a little bit for our race, I think, just because I prefer the modern version more. So let's find our Formula Retros here. We'll run the Brabham. Qualifying 94. Let's put that up a little bit. Yeah, let's go 100. One up. Yeah, we'll start last. We'll not qualify. We'll just start last and just pick our way through. That's what happens. So we'll go to Imola. We'll go to the modern version of Imola. So that's the modern version. Here it is. And we'll see what happens. So we should hopefully have a full grid of cars, and we'll go have some fun racing this F1 car with a whole lot of other maniacs alongside us. Now I know there's been some upgrades in terms of AI for some cars as well. They've had an AI pass. I think the G40 Cup car and some of the GT cars have upgraded their AI as well. So let's practice whilst get through that session. And we'll just go straight to the end. So this is going to be interesting to see how these cars race together, because obviously it's a new class. They're fairly new cars to the sim, so it'll be interesting to see how they go together. So let's make sure we have some fuel on board here, which we don't. One thing I have neglected to check was how long this race is going to be. 10 laps. Okay, no, that's fine. So let's put some fuel in for 10 laps. Say 13. Okay. There's the Brabham right at the front here. There's only the two liveries for the Brabham. There's this two car numbers, both in exactly the same colour scheme, so not a great deal of variety in that respect, but that's okay. Let's go. 10 laps of pure chaos driving Formula Retro cars in Automobilista 2. Being fairly well behaved through the first section. He's going to walk away from me here by the looks of things. We're slow through the hairpin. Let's see if we can go around the outside and round some of these up here. No. Then these cars all look good together on track. They look amazing. AI has been quite good in the way that it's defensive a little bit. It's not just going to give me an easy ride and let me cruise on by. So far we're still last, so work to do. We know it's difficult to pass here at Imola. It's even harder to pass when you make mistakes like that. Get it on the inside here. And I'll dive bomb the Lotus ahead because that would be unfair. And we can unleash the V12 all the way through here without having that extra chicane. Look at that, we're cruising up to the back of this Lotus ahead here. Wasn't going to let me have that place easily, and I'm back in last. They do seem to have a lot more grip through the corners than I might do. It seems to kind of close on them through the hairpins. Left behind. Much softer curves to deal with on this one. But you know, when you turn the AI up, they run really nicely. I mean, they're not behaving inconsistently or dangerously. They're driving quite well. Tyres still show as being cold. In fact, they've probably got colder since we started. The field's quite bunched up. We're not having loads get away from us. Everyone's still quite close together. Into our stride a little bit more now. Let's see if we can get one on the inside here. Or maybe two. A little bit too sandy that. laps in the books. We're on to lap 4 right now. So much more straight line speed. Oh, it's come across in front of me. No, it's not going to work around the outside into turn 1. No! And we're back to last again. Let's see if we can catch them up. Oh, it's all going so well. But yes, thoughts on the car? Very, very good indeed. Definitely worth a try. As I understood again, need to get it slowed down. I take too much speed through these corners. Trying to keep up with this lightning fast AI. Caught this guy back up again, which is good. Just need to keep it on the island now, which is the main thing. Should hopefully round him up before turn 1. Go around the outside here because we know he's going to cut across. Thank you. Going side by side into turn 1 ahead. It's going to help us out. My own worst enemy, really am. Is that stutter come back again? Hopefully that's the last of them. Nope. Ah. Not been having stutters like that in AMS2 before, so not sure whether that's something that's happened in the updates or something maybe that's going on in the background. Wow, okay, that's well, that's undrivable. Yeah, very odd. Well, we were nowhere in that race. I'll have to turn the AI down just a touch, just to keep him relevant. Okay. So there we go, so that's the Brabham BT46. I think it's pretty cool. Let's come back down to 90 again, that has. Despite putting up to 100. Oh, it's aggression, that's why. But even so, it's still on 94. Okay, well let's try that again, but this time we're going to go... Let's go really old school. Let's do the really old historic Monza. We'll turn practice off and we'll jump straight into a race again and we'll start at the back and see what happens. With slightly slower AI, and we'll hopefully have a bit more of a race this time, and hopefully the stuttering will stop, because that's really odd. But yeah, we'll work through it. We'll carry on regardless. Okay, very much different to what we were just on. Very old school with barriers and trees everywhere. Still stuttering. Very orderly on the first lap through the hairpin. What we are going to do at one point, coming up in the future, is we're going to take our Conquer the Mountain challenge, where we drove every single car in Automobilista 2 around Bathurst. We're going to take on every single track in Automobilista 2. And then we're going to try and attack that. Hopefully we're going to try and do it in one particular car. So we're going to try and figure out a car that we're going to do that in. And run every single track, which will probably end up being a weekend worth of streams rather than just a single evening, because there's just too many tracks. Let's force this Lotus out on the right hand side here. Got him. Yeah, so that's coming very soon on the channel. What we're also going to do is going to, as a side spin-off of that, obviously if we're driving one particular car at every single track, inevitably you're going to get something which isn't quite matched to that particular circuit. So we're going to do a vehicle or car on inappropriate tracks video coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Too deep into there. Deserve to lose that spot again. Big bump going into Aqua Minerale. So much more flow to this circuit though. I mean, it's obviously less chicanes going on, so you get a chance to really let the downforce kick in around these fast corners like this. Big Nordschleifer type curve on the inside there. Cobra truck at every track. Yeah. Oh, you know it's coming. So we want you guys to tell us, as we just passed this huge train of cars, we want you guys to tell us which car we should run at every single track. And we'll look to make it happen. So let us know in the comments, either below or in the live chat. Please don't be too unkind and put me in a Fusca or a truck. The 72 of them are best in me. Yeah, I think so. It's just so nice. Good flow. Much better race this time as well. I know we passed a whole load of cars in a straight line, but with these two just blocking the entire road in front of us here. Come on boys, sort yourselves out. Wheel to wheel. Brabham's got so much more straight line speed than the other two models in the class. Just round them up down the straights. The Lotus looks so good from behind. Oh, another Brabham. Mixing it in with the rest of them. .77 Hockenheim. Yeah, no, that's pretty good too. The old circuits have so much character to them, don't they? They have such a charm. Oh, that's the wall. I got collected by another one. Oh dear me. Okay. So, let's round this up then. Brabham BT46. It's a challenging drive, that's for sure. You've got to really try and get the most out of it. You've got to be aware of what its strengths and weaknesses are in order to drive it quickly. We know its strengths are in its top speed compared to its competitors in class. So it's a lot quicker in a straight line. It's also quicker through the fast stuff. It does seem to have a lot less front end than, say, the Lotus does. It also is a little harder to control from the rear as well. I mean, that could be down to the V12 rather than the V8. So it might just be slightly more drivable through the DFE, which is why it was so successful and why so many cars ran that particular engine. But it really is an excellent addition to the sim. If anything, just for the noise, because it does sound really, really good. What I have noticed though is the tyres do seem to just go cold, no matter what you do, unless of course you spin like I've been doing quite a lot of this evening, in which case the rear tyres stay nice and warm. But if you're driving it normally, like a regular person, it does seem to lose its tyre temp quite quickly. So either I'm just not pushing hard enough, which could well be the case, or there's something I'm missing in terms of warming the tyres up and keeping them warm. Other than that, I think the car drives very nicely for what it is. As we said, it's an old classic F1 car, so it's never going to drive like it's completely on rails like you see F1 cars do today. But I think it's really, really good. It's definitely worth a try. Yeah, the DFE's power, yeah, the torque curve very peaky. Yeah, it is. So I think the V12 has its merits, obviously in a top speed area of business, but yeah, just that understeer through there, just because the tyre temperature's just not there. But there we go. So that's the Brabham BT46. Just on track once again. Really is a cool looking thing. It's got a nice rasp to it as well in the external sounds. Yeah, very nice. So there we go. The Brabham BT46. I hope you've enjoyed the little mini review we've done this evening and trying this car out for the first time. I hope you enjoyed watching me make a fool of myself trying to drive this car. But we got there a little bit towards the end. It can still bite you, so it's not without its dangerous moments. So that's what makes it fun to drive. You can see it's moving around all over the place today. It's a good fun drive. That. So there we have it. Hope you're all going to have a good rest of your evening. Thank you very much for joining us. If you enjoyed our stream this evening, please do click the like button below. It means a lot to us as a channel to know that you guys like what we do. And if you really liked it, if you're new to the channel, please do consider hitting the subscribe button as well and becoming a Sim Racing Bible teammate. We'd love to have you on board. But until next time, until next weekend, if we're streaming then, which we will be, or if we release something in the meantime, we never know, we may have a video out this week, hopefully we will. But until next time, we will see you all very, very soon. Have a good rest of your evening. Take care.